Hey everybody, Dan here with Pain Free You. You know, I get a lot of questions about flares, or I have a lot of people in despair because my pain is flaring, right? So today's topic is going to be this. Your response to the flare is way more important than the flare itself. So we'll get to that in a minute. Nice quiet night. Overcast, cloudy. Nice and quiet. Love it. Relax your body so that you can breathe. It's not structured. We're not counting. We're not doing breath work. We're just kind of relaxing the body because that sends a message of safety to the brain. And it goes direct to the subconscious. Because if you weren't safe, you wouldn't be relaxed and breathing comfortably and fully. So, your response to a flare is way more important than the flare itself. So, you're probably thinking, what are you talking about, Dan? The flare. That's way important. That's really important. I got the flare. What did I do wrong? How did this happen? I thought I was doing good. Oh my goodness, it hurts so bad. Or my symptoms are so strong and colorful. What the heck happened? Oh no! Sound familiar? Okay. So first of all, let's define it. The flare is a spike or a big increase in symptoms, no matter what kind of symptoms you have. That doesn't mean anything other than the brain perceived danger. Now sometimes people will say, it went from 0 to 100, boom, instantly. And yes, that can happen. But often what else happens is we're doing reasonably okay, and then the symptoms start to creep up a little bit. And we go, uh-oh. And they start to creep up a little bit more, and we go, oh shit, what's going on? And then they start going up even more, and we're going, this is freaking me out. They keep going up. The fact that you're responding with an increasing fear as the symptoms go up is why they keep going up. Because what you're doing is you're fueling the symptoms with more perceived danger. You're saying, oh no, this is a problem. I'm in danger. The symptoms are going up. They're going the wrong way. I thought I was doing well. What happened? And then we get lost in this cycle of trying to figure out what the heck happened so I never do that again. Right? So you can preempt a big flare by responding to a little increase with clarity and going, I'm not concerned. That'll settle down. Because I'm not going to get all wound up over this and pour gasoline on the fire, so to speak. Because there is no fire. It's a false alarm. So, your response to the flare is way more important than the presence of a flare itself. And sometimes, you know, we find ourselves in a bad way where the symptoms are really high. But a lot of times I hear people say, yeah, when the symptoms get that intense, I lose all confidence. I start doubting that this is TMS, because how could the brain create symptoms this significant or this intense? Yes, it can. Because unless you fell down the stairs, there's no other reason to explain the increase in symptoms other than the brain's perception of danger. And if it starts going up and we freak out and, you know, our fear level increases a lot and the symptoms do too, that makes perfect sense under the umbrella of perceived danger being the driver behind symptoms. So how you respond matters way more than the fact that you're in a flare. And I often, very often, have people in my group coaching calls say, you know what? I used to get a flare and it would last months. Now it's down to a month. Or maybe now it's down to 2 weeks or a week. The flares are not lasting as long. And what I attribute that to is being able to get more clarity and not stay in panic as long as we used to. So even though you're still getting a flare, you're still making progress if the flares are not lasting as long. So if you can go from 3 months to a month, that's dramatic progress in reduction of these flare-ups of symptoms. And know that if you can do that, with calm and reassurance that I'm not going to buy into this fear, why not do that on day one? You might find that the flare goes from 3 months to a month to 2 weeks to a week to 3 days to a day to 2 hours to, barely an hour, right? The sooner we respond to any increase in symptoms with an, I know what that is. Come on, brain. I'm not concerned. You don't have to be either. And even if it's kind of kicking your butt, that's okay, because we still know what it is. And the intensity of the symptoms correlate very clearly to the intensity of your fear. Consciously, because a lot of times in a flare, we are consciously fearing. But subconsciously too, sometimes the flare-up will come and we don't really know why. Something was subconsciously perceived as dangerous. Don't spend a lot of time trying to figure it out. If it's obvious, great. Just hung up the phone with my sister-in-law. She drives me nuts. My symptoms jumped. Got it. If it's obvious, great. Point it out and say, good, now I know. Don't have to worry about it. But the sooner you respond with clarity, calling it out for what it is, just an increase in perceived danger and therefore nothing to be concerned about. Little to no concern, folks. And then shift your attention away from the symptoms and the flare-up and say, well, it'll settle down because I'm settling down. I don't have to panic. No reason to panic and no benefit in panicking. So I can assure you, the sooner you get back on the TMS train, the mind-body, metro, the PDP plane, I don't know, stupid analogies. Just know that you're okay. Now, if your response to symptoms jumping is, holy cow, what did I do? Did I do something wrong? Did I do too much? I had a statement I made in group coaching that a couple people laughed at. And I was trying to make the point, like, when somebody was saying, maybe I walked too far. I took a little extra longer walk than I normally do, and man, my symptoms jumped. And I'm like, all right, well, just let's evaluate this. As human beings, we're upright. We're designed to walk on 2 feet. We're designed to walk. We'll put in hundreds of millions of steps throughout our lifetimes. Walking is not dangerous. And, saying I walked too much would be like saying to a fish, you swam too much and that's why you hurt. I know, ridiculous, but let's think about it. We are designed to be upright and walking. Walking too far is not something that should cause a dramatic increase in symptoms. The belief that you're walking too far creates the fear and the perception of danger, which can absolutely cause the symptoms to go up and sometimes skyrocket. But it's the fear. It's not the walking. So anytime you start to have high symptoms and you really start to question, well, what did I do? Exactly what did I do? Well, I did a gym workout, but it wasn't anything crazy. And the next day my symptoms jumped. Evaluate. Did they start going up a little bit and you freaked out and then they spiked? Or did they, whammo, hit you hard? In either case, the sooner that you respond calmly and knowing exactly what it is, the sooner they will settle down and you can start cutting your long-term, flare for weeks into days and into hours. So it is your response to the flare that is way more important than whether or not the flare occurred at all. And if you are the type who is going to say, my symptoms went up, it's my fault, I screwed up, I must have done something wrong. Come on, Dan, what did I do wrong? Can you tell me what I'm missing here? The brain perceived danger, and instead of calmly reassuring yourself with clarity and certainty that you're okay, just like you were yesterday, that might be the only thing you're doing wrong, is responding with panic instead of peace and trust and knowing, all right, I got this. Nothing bad happened. Does this make sense, folks? I mean, it's so important. If symptoms are going up, your mindset should get crystal clear that there's nothing bad happening other than a false alarm being sounded. So I hope this makes sense. I think I'm going to wrap it up here. As always, love you folks, and we'll see you tomorrow. Take care.